I'm here with one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the country, maybe even the world. That is not an understatement. I can say this because he trained me all throughout high school for like 3 to 4 years. Coach
Uh-huh.
Shabazz, welcome to the show.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me, big guy. I appreciate you calling me. I appreciate you having me on. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, thank you for taking the time just to, talk about life and talk about what you do.
Yeah.
So just open the floor for us and talk about a little bit about your story, how you got to where you are and what you do now.
I'll try to keep it as short as I possibly can. Um, the fact that I'm a very selfless individual is really what kind of set the foundation for my entire life. And it started with my move to Memphis because I was about 24 years old, and the only reason I moved here was because of my son Taj. He was 2 at the time, and he and his mom and I split up. So I moved from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I was living at the time, and I dropped everything, and moved to Memphis. And I did that again because I wanted to be his dad, and I sacrificed everything for my son. So I came out here. I
Mm,
struggled. I was homeless for a little while, just
wow.
trying to find my way. Really, really going through some turbulent times, some hard times, and just I had a lot of prayer and a lot of just grind work, just following God's lead, led me to eventually meeting my wife in 2007. We were married summer 2008, and she planted the seed for me to become a strength coach because we would work out together all the time. She's a police officer, so her job is very, very physical and physically demanding, and I was a former professional athlete, so we would work out together and stuff. And she would notice that as I was working out, people would just stop and just stare and look and point and ask questions and stuff. So, and I'm
Let's
so locked
go.
in, I didn't hear any of it. I didn't pay any of it any mind. So one day my wife said, we had some stupid argument at the house one day, and she left the house. She came back about 5 minutes later. She said, "Babe, get in the car." So I don't want to get in the car. I'm mad. She said, "No, dude, just trust me. Just get in the car." So we got in the car. We took a trip to this park, Burt Ferguson Community Center. It's about a half mile from where we live.
Hmm.
And there was a lady, a little girl. She had to be maybe 20, 21 years old, but she had two little girls with her. She had an agility ladder with her, cone, and a soccer ball. She was training these two little girls, and my wife looked at me and said, "Babe, you see that? That is your future right there." But
Wow.
my wife saw something in me that I didn't even know was there, big dog, big dog. And when when it started to, when she planted that seed, whatever we argued about, I totally forgot, and I trusted her so much that I kind of followed her lead. Now, me being a man of the house, I didn't want to do anything to put us in a financial bind, so I was afraid to put up the money to get my certification. She said, "Babe, don't even worry about it. Just put it up." It was maybe a $600 investment, and I got that back in my first 2 or 3 clients. I
Mm.
didn't realize it at the time, but it just kind of, and from there, it just kind of grew. Now, it started off paying the bills as far as personal training clients, but my love was training athletes. So I would go to Burt Ferguson Community Center. I took my nieces, there were 3 of them, my 2 sons, and my nephew. Now, keep in mind, these are all family, these are kids, and nobody's paying me. And we had parachutes, and we had cones, and we had bungee cords, and it was so organized that it didn't, it's just people that were riding by, they just noticed, like, what is it? So one guy walks up and, "Hey man, do you train basketball players?" I said, "Absolutely." "Can you train my son?" "Absolutely." Another guy walks up maybe a month later, "Hey man, I have a baseball son. Can you train him?" This was 2011. From 2011, that's when it started, and up to date, I've been fortunate enough to help 13 players go to the NBA draft, 8 players go to the NFL draft. I literally just finished a pre-draft combine that was about a training session that was about 8 weeks long with 2 players from James Madison basketball team. I've helped 4 players go to Major League Baseball, and over 1,000 kids earn Division One scholarships. And that started with a homeless guy who got lucky, met a woman, She
Yeah.
gave me an idea, and I took it and ran with it. And a lot of prayer, and God just blessed us and just grew it from there. Like I said from the beginning, man, just being ultra selfless and just doing something so much good for so many other people, it just blessed me in return.
I'm so glad you listened to your wife because I
Oh
would
God.
not, I don't know if I'd even be where I am in Jackson, Mississippi if you hadn't
Yeah,
found
man.
me, if I hadn't found you, whatever happened.
Yeah,
Um God has allowed you to have such an impact, not on just my life, but so many other kids' lives as well. You're
yeah, man.
all over social media. That's one
Yeah.
thing I always respected is that you were always willing, no matter how big the athlete was in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
popularity, you were always going to shout everybody out. I remember all the times you shouted me out, and I was like, look, I know I'm like good, but like I'm not that good. You know what I mean? But you
But
didn't.
yeah, you gotta remember, man. With Cobank, I would even say with mine and your relationship, buddy. You know when an athlete knows one when we see one, and we know a dog when we see him, and we know a grinder when we see him. And it was something special about you from the very, very beginning. I remember our first few workouts at Houston. You were injured at the time, but you never missed. I was working with the rest of the team, and you had some freakish hamstring injury, I believe it was. You had to miss like the first 3 or 4 weeks of training, but when you could start, you were there. And not only that, when you showed me the drive that you had to not just do the workouts at the school, but you were one of the few, man, that would leave the school and come right to my facility right after we were
Yes,
done
sir.
and go do some more work, man. So
Yeah.
anybody who has that type of work ethic, anybody who has that type of love and just determination and drive, I'm gonna go to the ends of the earth for him, man. And it just so happens that you also happen to be an amazing kid, a great kid, a God-fearing young man that I felt like if anybody deserved the opportunity to be showcased, to be seen, to have a real opportunity to go to the next level, it was you. And I just want to do my part to make
Mm,
sure that I can make him to happen, dude.
yeah. And you lived it too. You went through
Oh
the
yeah,
grind.
oh yeah, yeah. I
You
did,
went through
I did.
who did you play talk a little bit about your college experience.
Okay. Um, I was so high school was not glamorous at all, but it helped to kind of give me the foundation. It started the foundation of what would happen next. In high school, I played 3 sports. I ran track. I played football and I played basketball. I was all state in football and track. My love was basketball, but football came so natural to me. I caught the eye of several college coaches, but my roots and I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and my roots are in Ohio. So my father, my birth dad, he lives in Cleveland, and he reached out to the recruiting coordinators at Ohio State, my dream school. And they told him the necessary steps if I was to have a chance to even have a spot as a walk-on. So he told me that he talked to a recruiter. He said, send him about 3 minutes game film, fill out this questionnaire, tell him how fast you are, and just send it. And we'll just see what happens. I only played 2 years of high school football, my junior and senior year. So I had to put my best few plays early up front. So whatever plays I put up there, had to wow the coaches. I put my numbers down, how fast I was. I wasn't very big at the time, but I was fast. And Ohio State they sent me a letter. I didn't get the letter. And it took them a couple of days to track me down because I was at this Bible class convention in Nashville, Tennessee when I got notification that I could actually go. I got the notification on July 28th. I had to be there August 1st. Needless to say, I was hauling. I went home. I
Wow.
packed all my stuff, and I called my dad. I was like, Dad, we in? He took a bus to Chattanooga, helped me drive my car to Columbus, and from there, it was 105 slots on the football team. I was number 104, so I barely got in. But the fact that I
Ooh.
even got in was such a blessing that I never
Yeah.
took it for granted, man. But when I tell you, I kept my mouth shut. I worked my tail off.
Mhm.
I was the lowest on the totem pole. I didn't care. I was just so blessed to be there that I
Right.
wanted to show how grateful I was for the opportunity. So every waking moment I had, man, I was working my butt off.
Right.
So it started at Ohio State, man. It started at football mecca, and I got a chance to play. And my freshman class was full of guys within the College Hall of Fame, guys that went to the NFL. I learned from the guys, grew with the guys. Those are my brothers to this day. I spent 3 incredible years there, learned so much there. Um, like I said, I started as a 7th string wide receiver. And by the time
Nice.
I was done, I earned a starting spot in the secondary. So and all it was a step to just pure, unadulterated, just hard work, man. Just not letting anything stop me. So from there, I went to Chattanooga for my last year. So got on the field there, man. It was a great experience there. Played a lot of good ball in the Southern Conference. Basically, met some good guys. And but that's where it started, man. It started up in Columbus, and I look. It was such an incredible experience, man. 25 years later, I still benefit from that experience there.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Coach
Oh yeah.
Shabazz. Um, who are some of the athletes? We were talking a little bit about your strength and conditioning coaching. Who are some
Mm-hmm.
of the big names that you've trained?
Big name guys that may be recognizable now. Let's say, okay, this kid by the name of Eric Gray. He's now with the New York Giants. In the
I know
NBA, there's
Eric.
a kid.
Wait, is Eric Gray? He played for Lausanne.
Yeah, Eric Gray plays
No,
Lausanne.
he's
Yep.
he's in the NFL right now.
Yes, buddy. He's with the Giants.
No.
No, he started at University of Tennessee. Then he went down and finished his time at the University of Oklahoma. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they got Eric in the 3rd round, I believe. Yep,
No,
yep, he
are
sure
you
did.
serious? I didn't even realize
Eric,
that.
yep, got
Okay,
some
those are
time as a punt
wow.
returner, running back time. Yeah, Eric's doing real well up there.
Yeah, those of you that don't know Eric Gray, I didn't really know Eric Gray. I didn't really know him personally, but we played in the same city. So I saw he was working out with Coach Boz. So
Yep.
he was doing something right. So
Oh yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
I kind of knew him from a distance, but that's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was so funny when you guys were kids. Eric was 10th grade. I want to say you and Eric may have been the same class. Yep, y'all were the same class. I just remember there were a few times where you were there together with him and Lincoln, and the 3 of y'all were there among the high school athletes, man, and just going extra hard. And it's so funny. I always look back at all those old workout clips, and I, just taking old videos over the years, and just some of the kids, man. But like I said, he was one of them. Obviously, Lincoln Perry, our man down at Texas State, he's cooking down there now. Um, Kennedy Chandler is one that comes to mind. He was a young point guard that got drafted 2nd round by the Grizzlies. Cameron Payne having a great NBA career after his resurgence out in Phoenix, and now he's with the Philadelphia 76ers. LeBron James' agent Rich Paul sent a kid to me named Darius Baisley a few years back. He's still in the NBA, so it's quite a few of them, man. So I've been blessed
Wow.
enough to be able to help quite a few of them.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Um,
Oh yeah.
what is some strength and conditioning advice you have for high school, college, any level of athlete, any sport? What's some advice?
Number one, be consistent. You have to be consistent, man. You cannot expect great results. You can't expect change if you do not consistently train. Then you have to train you got to be strategic with your training. Meaning you can't just go in and just recklessly do stuff. Meaning there are certain muscle groups that work together. There's certain things we call splits. We call them splits. You have 4-day splits, 6-day splits, where you train one group of muscles one particular day, you train another group of muscles the next day, you recover the next day, then you do the entire cycle again. Or you can do it in a 6-day split, meaning you train 3 different muscle groups 2 different days out of the week, but still able to have that minimum 48-hour recovery day in between. Also, nutrition is extremely important. You
Yes,
cannot
sir.
make the proper progress if you are not putting the right fuel in your body. And I use the analogy all the time. High performance vehicles cannot perform on regular gasoline. Then you have a tank can't perform on 93 gas, and you have a 747 can't perform on fuel that you use for a tank. Then you can't put jet fuel into a rocket. It must use rocket fuel. So you got to have the right type of fuel into your body to get the most out of your body. Those two things are so important. And the other thing I would say is one thing that is so overlooked is recovery. Full recovery is when your body, you shut down your body, all the nutrients you put into your body from your food, your hydration, that's when it rebuilds the body. If you don't ever rebuild, then you will only progressively, you will slowly start to regress and go backwards. So those three things I'll say, man, you give your body time to recover with the training, meaning, at least 24 to 48-hour window with your splits. Got to make sure that you feed in your body the right way, and you got to recover. A lot of times we think, I got to go hard, which is very, very true. You got to go hard with strategy, and you got to be smart about it. You got to be very, very scientific about it, because you only have one body, and you got to train it the right way, man. So recovery is so important. That is when your body rebuilds, and that's when it makes its progress. So real quick, I would just say those would be my tips as far as just the basics for strength training.
Yes, I was gonna ask about nutrition, but you already covered it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have like a go-to meal?
For me, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with grilled chicken, rice, and vegetables. For me, you got your good carbs with the white rice. You get all the macronutrients in the vegetables. And you load with protein with the chicken. Any type, I would say, to keep it very basic, any type of protein that, as long as you're not allergic, a good carb, and make sure you got some color on your plate, man, with your fruits and vegetables. So that's really the thing.
Yeah.
And to make those proper gains, like I said, you got to have the right amount of good carbs for energy. You got to have the right amount of good protein to rebuild the muscles. So those are my go-tos personally. I always meal prep, or if I don't meal prep, my wife does. So I normally get about 4 or 5 meals and it's the same thing, man. Just about every day. You have my good carb, my protein, a vegetable source, and I drink, at least 1.5 gallons of water every day. So that's, and everybody's different. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to build, get bigger, get stronger, put on mass, more protein, more carbs. You know what I mean? If you're trying to get leaner, not as many carbs, but more protein. And hydration is so overlooked, but it's so important, because 75% of our muscle fiber is water. So you got to make sure that you're feeding the muscles the right way, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And
Yeah.
definitely what you taught me has bled over even to this next chapter in my life. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
I got to eat clean. It's
Right.
because even when you're not playing sports, the way you eat, the way you fuel your body, it's affects how you think, how you
That's
sleep,
exactly right. Oh, man.
everything.
It does.
It
It does.
so
It's, it's
yeah.
so, I mean, it's as fundamental as this. If you're in poor health and you go to the doctor and you're obese, or you go to the doctor, you have diabetes, or if you go to the doctor, you have high blood pressure, man, there's one thing that they always tell every one of those clients across the board. They tell you to go exercise, and they tell you to change your diet.
Yep.
And when you do that, your body resets itself, you feel better, you think clearer, you breathe better, you sleep more, and your body is doing what it was intended to do. So you are absolutely correct.
Yeah. I got a couple more questions that I'm curious. And if I was an athlete, a high school athlete, I would want to know the answer to this question. How do you
All
get
right.
exposure and get in front of college coaches?
Best way to do it, man, film everything. Film practice, film you in the weight room, film yourself. Obviously, game film is key. Film does not lie. Also, one thing that's overlooked is film your, not just training sessions, but film combine testing. Meaning they want to see how fast you are. They want to see your 40. They want to see you change direction with 5-5. They want to see how strong you are. And they want to see even explosiveness is demonstrated by your broad jump being measured, your vertical jump being measured. If you don't have access to that stuff on a consistent basis, get to a training facility that actually has it, who has a trainer who will do regular testing after 6 to 8 weeks, so that you can see measurable results. But college coaches want to see speed. They want to see explosiveness, and and even the training aspect. When we think film, we primarily only think game film. But the big time college coaches also want to see film of you training for multiple reasons. For two reasons. First reason is they want to obviously see the actual numbers, see how fast, strong, and quick and explosive you are. But the other reason is to see that you're actually dedicated to your craft. Because if they know you're not just working on at practice and you're spending extra time working on your speed and working on your strength in addition to what you do with your team, they know you're trying to stand out for real. So those are two things that definitely help. Film everything. And when I say everything, I don't exaggerate. I mean everything. And again, the underrated aspect of film is your training film. Benching, power cleaning, sprinting full speed, vertical jump, showing off your explosiveness. So those two things, that's how over the years I've been able to help so many kids draw the attention of college coaches, is by not only just their game film, but by showing them training.
Yes. Yes, and it is not easy training. Let me tell you,
Not at all.
there has been many days where I've wanted to walk out of those doors, right? But the culture that you build, it pretty much instilled this mentality where you weren't going to give up no matter how hard it got. And
right.
Follow Coach Shabazz. All his socials will be linked down below. If you are a high school athlete, you need to follow his account. You need to drive over to Memphis and train with him. Like, literally, he has changed so many people's lives. This is not an exaggeration. I was just a small 5'9" slow white kid, and I was able to train with him and get a Division II scholarship to play football. I don't know what would have happened if I wasn't training with Coach Shabazz. And so, man, yeah, obviously all of his socials will be linked down below. If you're a high school athlete, check that out. Last question I have: hard work or talent? What's more important? What's your take on that to go to the next level?
Not even close. It's hard work. Not even close. There are kids that I've seen over the years who have talent and refuse to work hard. And those are the ones who grow up disappointed, missed opportunities. And one thing that makes coaches cringe is wasted talent. Because when you have God-given ability and you don't feed it by working hard, by training hard, then you lose it. It is a simple analogy that I tell every single athlete this. First of all, your talent is God-given. It is straight from God. It is literally a gift. And the way you know that is because everybody doesn't have it. The way you say thank you to God for giving you that rare gift is by turning around and working hard to feed it. Because if you do not do that, it's just like any other gift that a parent gives you. They give you a gift. If you leave it on a shelf, you let it get dusty, you misuse it, a parent will not be ready to give you another gift. And not only that, you can mess around and lose that gift. So, man, you and I have seen it over the years, man. There have been so many gifted, talented athletes that have either gone Division I or gone to the NFL, and they crash and burn. And it's not because of bad luck. It's because they refuse to work hard. Everybody thinks that when you get to a certain level, my talent got me there and that's going to keep me there. A lot of people do not understand. Your talent gets you there, but the hard work is what keeps you there. So hard work all day long.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for answering a few questions, Coach Shabazz. Yeah. I'm sure there was a lot of value shared, and I really hope that the people watching is able to take something from it. And thank you guys for watching, and we're going to conclude this episode with Coach Shabazz. Socials are down below. Thanks, guys.